Strap in, folks. It's time for the Car JoeMeZ
Hello, everyone, and welcome to
podcast.
episode 402 of the Car JoeMeZ podcast. I'm Mez, and my co-host as always is
the magistrate of Caravan City. I am Captain Joe Shoes from the Car JoeMeZ podcast.
Yeah, you are, buddy. What's up? How you doing, bro?
Gomez, I am good. You know why I'm good? Because we had a 3-day weekend. I love holidays, and this is one of the first times I've gotten this off. I
love it.
In my real life, I've always had these jobs as an adult where I've had to work on holidays. There's no such thing as holidays, but now we have holidays.
Yes.
And you know what's better than the weekend? A 3-day weekend, Gomez.
Yes. Love a good 3-day weekend. 4-day week. I had a half day on Friday, so it was like, woo.
When I was a kid, I remember the 3-day weekend was so great because back when you had like Blockbuster Video, I would and before I had Sega Genesis, I remember I convinced my mom to let me rent the Sega Genesis. You used to be able to rent the systems.
Yes.
So it was I don't know if it was $10 or $12 or whatever. So I'd rent the system. And for a 3-day weekend, it was great. Oh my God, I got to play these 2 games or whatever. And then finally Christmas came along. I got my own Sega Genesis, like a big boy.
That's right. Like a big boy.
But
Shiloh was off Thursday. 4 days. She had an extra day. Because they built in snow days, and then when we don't use them,
they didn't use them.
So we didn't use them all. So we got an extra.
I say just make them keep going to school.
Why do they need an extra day? What do we do? A Thursday?
Just keep going to school. What's the issue? Haven't you seen the reading scores for the kids in this country? The last thing that these kids should be doing is taking an extra day.
Unbelievable.
Thank you guys for listening to the Car JoeMeZ podcast. Remember to subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you're listening to it. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/@Car JoeMeZ Pod, and follow on all the social media at Car JoeMeZ. And Gomez, I have got no breaking news this week.
Really?
It's kind of a slow week. There's not a lot going on. So
it's a holiday week.
It's a holiday weekend. You think some big ass movies were coming out? Very underwhelming, apparently, at the box office. People are very terrified of the numbers Furiosa did. I know you were excited for it. To catch up from last week, you had suggested that I watch Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, baby. Did you watch Fury Road?
Gomez, I take this job very seriously.
Oh, shit.
So your double main man went, and I think it was on HBO. Was it on HBO?
Yes, HBO.
That's where I watched it then. On HBO, which is probably my favorite of the apps. There's a lot of variety on the HBO Max app. So I was on there. I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for the people. I'm going to do it for The Rock. I don't know what he has to do with this. The final boss. But I'm doing it for all the passengers of the Car JoeMeZ podcast. So I watched this movie. I remember when this came out, and it wasn't like a big hit that people were looking forward to, but the word of mouth on this movie got around very quickly, and everyone was like, you got to go see this fucking movie. It's just great. And this is 2015, so we're talking 9 years ago. I never got a chance to see this movie, but I remember after hearing all the good things, I was like, I'll go see this movie. Never did. Now I have an excuse. So I went and watched it. And Gomez, what a roller coaster.
This movie, bro.
Now I want to see Furiosa so bad.
Woo-hoo-hoo. I love to hear that. Yes.
This movie rules. Why? This is exactly the kind of movie that appeals to my specific interest. It's got action, it's got adventure, it's got story. The performances are good, the sets are great, the action is really well done, and even the cartoony aspects of it, which play heavily into these action movies. When the chase is going on, and on one of the trucks, there's just a guy playing guitar.
That's right, baby.
The first time I see that, I'm like, oh, it's fucking on. They got the guy playing the guitar with the whole kit setup of amps on top of the truck. This is how you do it.
Yes. Yes, Joseph. I love to hear it.
What I didn't know about this movie is for a movie that, like, obviously Mad Max is a brand, right? They started this in the 70s or whatever.
Yeah.
I never thought of Mad Max as this big time franchise, but there's a $150 million budget on this movie, which seems like a ton for me for a movie
insane.
without
insane
that kind of pedigree.
Yeah.
And especially at the time,
later,
your stars are Charlize Theron, who, like, she's won an Oscar, but she's not exactly box office. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
And Venom, Tom Hardy is the other guy. Once again, he does a lot of stuff, but I don't think big time box office when you put Tom Hardy's name on the marquee. So the numbers on this are great. Like, IMDb gives it 8.1, Rotten Tomatoes 97%, audience score 86%. Everybody loves this movie. You know who else likes this movie? Captain Joe's Shoes. I give it a quadruple main man.
Fuck yes. Joe, this is highly regarded as one of, if not the best action movie of this most recent. Like, what other action movies? This thing is from start to finish. You are getting just bombarded with just some of the craziest shit you ever saw. It is unbelievable. I love this movie. I am so happy you saw this. This is just
it feels like a lost genre right now. The skill, the art of the fucking action movie. And it doesn't need to be high art or anything that make you think or anything. But this is just, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know who the director was. But they obviously just understood the assignment, knew what they were going for, understood the tone, the tenor, the actors understood what, like, everyone got the homework correct. And they just put out this really entertaining and fun movie to where by the time it's over, you're just like, now that was a fucking great time at the movies.
So the Mad Max movies, they're all made by the same guy. It's one guy. This is his baby. So he's from start to finish. This is his vision, his thing. So this is something he's been working on for years. He's been working on this Fury Road idea and project. It combines with Furiosa. Like, he's been working on this whole, like, this mega kind of story. Like Furiosa, like, he's had a script kind of for that on the back burner. Like, oh, let's do this, and then we go back. So this is his baby. He supposedly wants to make one more to kind of wrap it all up. Don't know how that's going to do with the box office here. But
yeah, I think it needs to be said. Like, Furiosa had some pretty good expectations coming into this weekend and fell pretty far below.
The only thing I'll say to that is Fury Road made no money either. It was a bomb.
Well, it was Fury Road, because of word of mouth, actually ended up making 154 million domestically, but slayed internationally with 226 million. So it does finish over 380 million worldwide.
So eventually it made that money, because it did not. It made no money at first, because Mad Max, like, who cares about Mad Max, in all honesty? Like, Thunderdome is 94, something like that, early 90s. So we're talking 20-something years. Come on. But I loved it. I ran to the theater this week. I told you I was gonna. I did opening night, Thursday night. I went and saw Furiosa. I had to. And let me tell you, Joe, this movie's fantastic, but I'm going to tell you, it's not Fury Road. It is not this heavy action movie. There's plenty of action in the movie, but this is a more story driven. This is the first half, and it kind of leads right into Fury Road. Like, if you watch them back to back, this is a prequel. Yeah. This is showing you the rise, like what came, you get more of the bad guy from Fury Road. He's involved in this. You get more of his backstory. You get Chris Hemsworth playing this fantastic villain. This man is having the time of his life. These are like Australian movies. The guy who makes this is Australian. He films everything in Australia. So Chris Hemsworth probably like dreamed of being in a fucking Mad Max movie because he's in this movie. He's fantastic. And Anya, I think that's how she says it, Taylor-Joy, great Furiosa. It's fantastic. The movie is fantastic, but you will sit there and not that you'll be disappointed. You'll be like, okay, that was different. I need to process this because it wasn't all this action. There's some action that might even be better than Fury Road, but there's not a lot of it. It comes in spurts. It's more understanding the character and building on the mythology of the way.
Yeah, so they're setting the groundwork that leads into Fury Road, because at the beginning of Fury Road, even like at the first mention of Furiosa, like there's obviously like this legend about her, because everyone's like, oh, Furiosa, but they don't really go into it. It's never really explained in Fury Road.
Yeah, exactly. And the movie ends and it kind of picks up, like they show you it bridging, like it literally bridges into Fury Road to where they're showing you highlights of Fury Road in the credits to kind of like.
So I was gonna say what that reminds me of is kind of Rogue One, and how Rogue One kind of bridges to Star Wars: A New Hope.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. So that they're even showing you the movie. So when this comes out to do a double feature, this movie is 2.5 hours. It's a little long, but he is making this epic, and this is part of his epic combined with Fury Road, right? Because that's about 2 hours. So you got a little like 4 hour.
Actually, 2 hours on the dot.
2 hours Fury on the Road. Dot. So, you got a 4.5 epic kind of going there. But if you were to watch them back to back, I think you would be like very satisfied, because you get the rise of Furiosa and then you kind of end with her doing her thing. So it's good. Fantastic. Definitely see it. If you're curious, see it. It's good. I mean, I can't believe it. I was in the theater. There was no one there. There was maybe 10 other people. And I went Thursday at 9 p.m. Like, that's fucking prime time. And it was no one there. Pretty sad.
Especially with a holiday weekend. A lot of people do have the Friday off. So very disappointing. That wasn't the only big release that came out this weekend, though, Gomez, was it?
It was not. In fact, I went to the movies again this weekend, Joe. I went on Saturday, 11 a.m., and there was maybe 10 people in that theater also for the Garfield movie. Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, all right. Let's see. We'll probably have a packed theater for Garfield. If no one's seeing Fury Road or Furiosa, maybe they'll be doing Garfield, right? No.
See, now I think, and we've gotten into this, like I'm not running out to the theaters to see a fucking Garfield movie, but I would think the kids with the 3-day weekend, the parents who are home,
it's something to do.
It's something to do. I would think this is the kind of movie that would be doing well this weekend.
100%. I don't think there's been anything really out for kids recently. Kung Fu Panda, but that was like 6 weeks ago.
Kung Fu Panda's a while ago now, yeah.
That's a while ago. So it's been a while, and she saw the commercial and she even said, there's a new Garfield movie. Are we going to see that? Like, she was all like, yes, can we go? So she was into it. I will say, I mean, like we mentioned last week, Garfield was a thing for us. It's like for kids these days, like Garfield's not really. Like, you only see Garfield now because there's a movie. It's not like he was in the newspaper. He was on T-shirts. He was on this. A kid today, why the fuck do they care about Garfield? And I think it kind of proved that they don't, right? They don't really, they don't give a fuck. First thing when the movie started, Shiloh goes, Daddy, Garfield kind of sounds like Mario. Instantly.
Well, it just shows Chris Pratt's very diverse range of vocals that he's able to do.
So, like, he's kind of doing a voice, but not really. Kind of when he says certain things, you could go like, all right, he's not just being Chris Pratt. He's like doing Chris Pratt doing Garfield. He's not like really trying to do like
not doing Garfield. He's doing Chris Pratt doing Garfield.
Yeah, so it's not like, oh, I'm Garfield. It's like, hey, I'm Garfield. Like he's trying to do it in his voice, and it's it's not distracting. It's distracting, I guess, for her because she's not, she don't know Chris Pratt like that. To him, it's only Mario. Me, I just like this fucking guy. But the movie's very weird. It's an action movie, like I don't know, like when you see a Garfield movie, like what do you expect in the Garfield movie to be about, really, right? Like, well, I don't really know.
And that's my thing too. Like, what is he gonna just lay around the house all day and bug John?
Like, it's usually quick hits, like even on his cartoon show, right? He did like a 10-minute segment or a 6-minute segment.
Kick it over to the farm animals.
Kick it off to the farm animals. So like even then they knew like Garfield in small spurts, in the Bill Murray movies, Odie gets kidnapped is the main thing in that. So it's like kind of saving Odie from the pound. This one is Garfield's dad is back in town, and he needs Garfield's help because he's messed with the wrong people, and they got to do a mission to steal milk. This is the movie. And so it's like a heist movie where they're like going into the milk factory. It's like, it's not good, bro. It's not good. Oh, not good. Shiloh was like, it was okay. Like, she didn't love it. She didn't hate it, but I don't think this is going to get another showing in the JoeMeZ house anytime soon. My goodness.
I mean, I'll tell you, it's definitely not going to get any showing in my house, but...
What? You
let alone another showing.
It's true, bro. It's terrible.
JoeMeZ, I did a little catch up this week. One show that we haven't spoken about is actually like season 5 now of Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So the final episode of this aired a couple weeks ago on May the 7th, and that was about the Black Saturday. I would say this season was kind of better than I expected it to be because I didn't have high hopes. It just comes to the point where you say, how many of these stories are really Dark Side of the Ring stories? Like episode 1 is about Earthquake John Tenta, and the entire episode is like, oh, he was a really nice guy. Everybody loved him. We loved working with him. He was so talented. He was so great. And then he got cancer. Like that's the dark side.
Yeah, it's true. It's just they're just making documentaries at this point. They're not really doing the bad side of wrestling.
Even as it goes on, like we get like the Brutus Beefcake episode, which is the main thing is, he almost died in that parasailing accident. I think we've all, if you follow wrestling close enough where you're the type of fan who's going to be interested in watching a series like Dark Side of the Ring, you pretty much know the story of Brutus Beefcake and how he basically got his face caved in and needed it completely restructured to be able to live. But then we get a story like Chris Colt, who is someone I've never even heard of. And I'm
who the fuck is that?
A fan of the territories. I've never even heard the name Chris Colt before, let alone why it would require a Dark Side of the Ring episode. But I found that very interesting. And that's the thing. For someone like me who has followed wrestling for so long, I read everyone's biography. I love the old shoot interviews that we used to get and the territory stories. I love all that stuff. So when there's something I don't know that I'm actually getting something out of and learning something from, those are the episodes I tend to gravitate to. So this episode with Chris Colt, I really enjoyed. The Sensational Sherry episode, I feel like I got a lot out of. From her personal life, knowing really nothing. Like Sherry was a big star when I was a kid and laid a lot of groundwork for the women to be able to be in positions where they could be seen as contributing to drawing the money. Sherry was fucking good, man. But then like hearing her story about getting married young and having a kid, like this is all stuff like I never knew any of this stuff. So the Sherry episode I really enjoyed, probably my favorite of the season, but also the finale, the Black Saturday story. I know enough about it where I'm not being like, oh my God, I didn't know this during the episode. But they do things with like, there's an interview with Ole Anderson's son, who obviously has only heard the Ole Anderson side of the story.
That's funny.
And it's quite entertaining from the perspective of you have Jerry Briscoe there, who obviously figures in very importantly in this story. Obviously, Jim Barnett is no longer here. Ole Anderson wasn't. He was still alive when this was being filmed, but he was kind of incapacitated at that point. And he ended up passing away in February, I believe, this year. But his son is the one like telling his side of the story. And it's very obvious that there's a little bit of a bias to it, which is fine. I mean, sure. I get it. Like if it was my dad, I'd be doing the same thing. But as people who know the business, follow the business, I mean, I just look at that and I go, there's a reason pretty much no one has anything good to say about Ole Anderson. So whatever. So this was on Vice. I don't know if you guys have been checking it out. It was 10 episodes. They also had Buff Bagwell, Terry Gordy, Harley Race, Gentleman Chris Adams, and the Sandman episodes.
Oh, Sandman.
Hits and misses. Obviously, some are better than others. I don't know how much further we're gonna go with this Dark Side of the Ring. I know they're planning something with the like WCW coming up, like the Dark Side of WCW or something.
Oh, really?
Or like the kind of a Monday Night Wars series, but it's being produced by $7 Promotions or Productions, which is The Rock's company.
Yeah,
so I'm waiting to see. Obviously, I'll check it out when it comes out, but I'm interested to see what the skew on the story is going to be with that one.
Yeah. What does The Rock think about WCW?
Yeah. Like that's how I picture it. It's just like The Rock's version of WCW.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Joe, I caught up on a movie I had mentioned I was thinking of checking up on because it was dropping on VOD last week. Joe, did you get time to check out The Fall Guy?
Actually, I did. I caught up. I watched a couple 2024 releases this week. The Fall Guy is one of them.
Awesome. Yes, I watched that because that was something I was interested in seeing. I like Ryan Reynolds. I don't mind Emily Blunt.
Well, I mean, it's good you like Ryan Reynolds, even though he's not in the movie.
Oh, I did it again. I said it. I did that last week again. I got fucking Deadpool on the brain over here, I guess. Fucking Ryan Gosling. We love Ryan Gosling. I'm sorry, bro. Sorry for the disrespect. I just couldn't make the movie times work when it dropped. And now that it's on VOD, you know me, I'll spend that $6 always. Fuck that. So I watched it. It's a fun little movie, Joe. It's not like fantastic, but I had a good time with it.
So I didn't realize, and this is me being oblivious 100%. I didn't realize that this is based on the old TV show, The Fall Guy. Because whereas I've heard of the show, I know, I just know it existed. I don't know anything about it. I don't know that the actual premise of the show was the stuntman thing. So when I see the trailer for the movie, The Fall Guy, I'm just going, oh, okay. Like, it's not getting me excited. I don't think the trailer was all that well done anyway. It looked fine, if anything, but it was nothing that was making me want to go see this movie. But once again, good word of mouth. A lot of people had fun with this.
Yes.
So when it came out to VOD, I said, "Oh, you know what? This is the kind of movie I can settle in for and give like an hour and 40 minutes of my time to." And I did too. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I had a lot of fun with it. It's a very easy movie to just sit back and watch and not feel like, you know, the world is on fire. It's just a fun movie. Performances are good across the board. There's nothing that's going to be like ruining the illusion for you at any point. One thing I did get excited about was Hannah Waddingham is in this, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Rebecca from Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso, yes.
I get a lot of Ted Lasso stuff coming up in my suggested social media stuff, and it's always stuff like either Ted Lasso quotes or whatever, but every now and then it'll be like Ted Lasso on stage and Hannah Waddingham will come out and they'll sing like In the Shallow from that Bradley Cooper movie. Like the two of them will sing it together. I'm just like, I don't know what my algorithm is, but I'm not mad at this.
I'm here for it. Did you enjoy the movie enough to see a sequel? There was talks of doing a sequel. They had an idea for a sequel. We'll see with the box office numbers. But you like the characters enough to join them for another adventure?
I don't think everything needs to be a sequel.
It's like a fun little movie. It's
a fun little movie. It happened. I'm glad I saw it, and I'm moving on. As soon as it was over, like I'm done with it. You know what I mean?
100%. Exactly.
It's the kind of movie that 20 years ago, if it's the weekend and I'm home and I got the TV on and it comes on TBS, it's the kind of movie I would leave on. But it's not the kind of movie I'm like, oh, I wish they made 100 of these.
With people talking about the box office numbers being a disaster this week and the fall of movies, you know, that whole thing. One thing people mentioned, how back in the day, people would just go to the movie theaters and not know really what was playing or what time, and they'll just be like, "Oh, it's 9:00. Oh, this starts at 9:10. This movie starts
in 15 minutes. Yeah,
let's go check this out." And the idea of that now is like the craziest thing in the world, right? Who's going to the movies? Going.
Not only are we picking our movie in advance, we're booking the seats we want in advance.
Yes, People
if
are
you
reading
knew you
reviews.
were going to the
I can't see
movies,
this.
if you knew you were going to the movies, especially to see an anticipated release, how early would remember like when Spider-Man came out, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and it was like you have to be there an hour and a half before showtime because you want to make sure you get a decent seat. You don't want to sit in row 2 of a theater that's 100 rows deep with a giant screen and then be looking up for the entirety of the movie. Like, we're not only booking movies in advance. When Fandango came out, it was like, oh, you get your movie tickets online. Okay, that's great. But now I book my seats. I want certain seats.
Yes, remember that, folks? We would have to go to the theater a day or two early and be like, oh, I'll pick up the tickets for Friday night or something. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Going to the box office. Oh my goodness. Same thing, right? Getting concert tickets. We have to go to fucking Sam Goody or some bullshit in the basement. And they had
nobody
a fucking
beats
guy
the Wiz,
printing out.
and they
Yep. That's like, it's insane to think about.
Or if you
how that
like
works.
For me, like I was the guy who worked in close proximity to the venues. So it'd be like, all right, everybody meet up with Joe and give him cash so he could go to Irving Plaza tomorrow and pick up the tickets to whoever we're going to see.
It's crazy. Like, that's something you don't realize. Man, technology. Thank you.
When was the last time you purchased a ticket at the box office?
I can't even tell you. When I was recently when I was in Pennsylvania, because I was like, there was no machines. I had to go up to the ticket window and actually say, hey, can I get 2 tickets for Godzilla King Kong? Let's go. It was very weird. It was. I had to interact with a human. What?
Even now, like one of the things that gets talked about in collecting is ticket stubs for historic events or big moments in sports or something. Like I have ticket stubs for a couple no-hitters, stuff like that. I have a ticket stub for every no-hitter that was thrown at Citi Field so far. I just think that's fun.
Yeah.
But people get these things graded, and obviously there's a market for it. Now, with everything being paperless, how do you get a ticket stub? How do you commemorate? I used to just collect my ticket stubs when I went to events.
Boxes of concert and movie tickets. Yep.
I would keep a Smurf's coffee mug on, my desk in my room or whatever. And every time I went to an event, I would take the ticket stub out when I got home and put it in the coffee mug. And I just had this giant stack. I still have my wristband from Woodstock 99. I still have a concert ticket from a Green Day show in 1995. That's, almost 30 years ago. Like different Mets games, different basketball games, different wrestling events. I have, just because I would just do it and just put it there. And the thing just sat there. The coffee mug just sat there for years.
Yeah.
So now, like, I went to that Penguins game in February where they retired Jaromir Jagr's number.
Yeah.
And there's no tickets. Everything is digital. And I'm like, oh, but this would be so cool. Like if I had the ticket stub, whatever.
Sure.
Or if it had on the ticket, like they sell commemorative ticket stubs now.
That's what they do. Yep.
So that's like extra. The gimmick. But the thing is, the ticket ain't worth shit, right?
Yeah, no.
It's not a real ticket. It didn't get you into that event. It doesn't guarantee you were there.
I know.
You could put any seat because you put quote unquote your seat. You have to enter into the website,
that's how that works.
And and I bought the ticket. I bought the commemorative ticket.
Yeah.
But it's an extra $25 that I paid on that, but that's, you got to look at it like a souvenir, right?
Yes, it's a souvenir. You spent the money. It's true though, because I collected my movie tickets always. I loved it. And then just one day it was just like, no,
there's no more.
You go. It's on your phone, no more. And it's just like, oh, okay. It started with concerts first, right? It was just like, oh, just show the ticket on your phone. It was like, what? Or print out your ticket. It was always print out your ticket now. Why wait? And it was like, okay. It's a shame.
Well, even if you think about theme parks, like there's a market for vintage Disney ticket stubs. Like if you went opening day to Disney and it's got the date, or if you have they used to have stubs to go on certain rides. So you would get like a ride booklet of tickets and like, oh, this level is good for these 3 rides and this one is good. So there's a market for that. But now everything is on an app. So you're not even walking in. There is no ticket anymore. Nothing you're getting stamped. Nothing you're getting punched. You used to have the ones that would punch. It's like a 4-day ticket and put a hole in it.
Yeah. Even when you go on like the railroad now it's you just show your phone. Like they don't, the ticket guy, like he's not doing your tickets no more. He's just like boop, everything boop. It's crazy. Technology. You ruin things sometimes. You make it good, but damn.
I mean, it's more convenient for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but give us an option. Let us have the option.
At the same time, there does seem to be something missing in society because of it.
You see? It all traces back to that. Unbelievable.
Gomez, that's not the only 2024 movie that I've been catching up on this week.
Ooh, tell me what else?
I checked out a movie also on VOD now called Civil War.
Oh, did you? I didn't get a chance to do that. I was going to, but I got caught up in some other stuff. Okay. What you think? I'm excited to hear about
So this is the big movie from A24, right? The biggest box office that they've ever had. And remember, they just did the Iron Claw movie. So they're having a little string of success here right now. I got to be honest with you. This movie is very mediocre. I understand what they're going for when they kind of drop you right in the middle of it. Like, it's not like there's a buildup to this Civil War. It's just when the movie opens, we're in it. This is happening. And you're following this group of reporters as they traipse around the country to try to get to Washington, D.C., to be the first to get like the big scoop with whatever's going on there. That it looks like the United States is going to be overthrown by the part of the country that's trying to secede from the Union. And they're trying to get there for that. So you're following these journalists, and there's some stuff happening along the way, but it's not overly gripping in a way. It's just kind of just there. And at the end, where you get to the conclusion, it feels like it kind of falls flat. So, I mean, I guess the story is supposed to be the drama that goes on with being a journalist kind of in the line of fire, because there are so many shootouts that these people are just kind of, I don't want to say involuntary involved in, but they're there because they're trying to document it. So there's all this crossfire going on throughout the movie. And I guess you're supposed to be feeling the drama and the stakes of the photojournalist while they're trying to get these shots. But for the most part, it doesn't really grab you like that. So I think the movie's worth a watch. I think there's definitely people who are going to like it more than me. But for me, I kind of find it very middling.
I hear people mostly talk good about it, but I do hear some like, it's okay. All right. Like I'm a fan of the director guy, Alex Garland. He's made some good shit. I give him the benefit of the doubt. So like, that's why I want to see the movie. Looking at the trailer and stuff, it's not like, I'm not really like, but it's like, all right, I trust this guy. Let me see what he does. So
I will say it's not like the movie is too long. I think it's an hour 48, if I remember correctly. So it's not like you're there all day if you're not into it.
That is good. I'll probably watch it this week, definitely. Because I watched a lot. It was a lot of wrestling this weekend, Joe, between WWE had a pay-per-view and then 12 hours of AEW. So yeah,
which is the dumbest
stuff. Some of my
thing.
watching. It's too much. I love AEW. I defend it. I think it's the best. But me and my friends who all we all agree the pay-per-views are too much. Sometimes we go to pay-per-views, we don't want to be there for 6 hours. It's a lot. Especially these matches where there's a lot going on and you're drained at the end of the show. It's not good for the guys, too. Why you on your main event when no one gives a fuck? We're tired, bro. We're tired.
I mean, that's why we stopped 7-8 hour WrestleManias, right?
Yes, exactly. 100%. By the time the main event came, everyone was like, yo, fuck this, bro.
Done. A large portion of the crowd had left by that point.
Yes, especially it's outdoors in the sun. Like, it's fucking San Francisco, bro, and you're like doing a 7-hour show. I'm done. I get it. AEW, I understand they're giving you value, right? And they want to fit everybody in, but it's a lot of times it's like these guys don't even get TV time like this. Like they get 2 minutes every week, and all of a sudden I gotta watch them do a 30-minute match. It's like, come on, Keep that shit somewhere else. So.
Especially on a Sunday night. Now, this weekend a little different because it's a holiday weekend, so there is
but they would have
a large portion of people. But it doesn't matter. It just happened to fall.
It just happened to be that this was the holiday weekend.
Yes.
This was last one and the one before. I think recently they kind of kept it tight. I want to say like maybe the last one or the last two where it wasn't. A pay-per-view shouldn't be ending at
1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time.
Yeah, like that's too much.
Like they have this partnership with Dave & Buster's where they stream the pay-per-views and you go watch it at Dave & Buster's. I've seen stories of people saying that their specific Dave & Buster's that they were at were forcing them out because they close at midnight. Now,
that's funny.
I also saw people saying it wasn't all of them. Ours was very accommodating. They cleared out the game section, but said, if you're sitting here, if you're watching the show, you are welcome to stay and finish watching the show. But at the same time, it's not all Dave & Buster's. And if it happens at 1, you cannot allow that to happen, especially when you are marketing that as watch the show at Dave & Buster's. So 3 minutes into the main event, they sending you home. Like that can, under no circumstance, cannot be allowed to happen.
It's true. So that took up some of my movie watching time this week. Unbelievable. One last thing I wanted to bring up before we get into any other movie. I had a question for you, Joe, because
I've got an answer for you.
I would love it. I'm experienced a Mandela effect here, Joe. It's something that's.
Is this the fact that Sinbad was a genie?
No, because I know that never happened because we were a Sinbad house.
Because you're a Sinbad family. Yes.
And I would have fucking watched the fuck out of that movie. So I know that shit's not real, 100%. But there's other things like the Berenstein Bears. I'm like, oh, maybe it was with the E or the A or whatever.
Whenever I see that, I just don't know what to think.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember. I can see it both ways.
Yeah.
So I had one this week. Joe, do you remember old school Taco Bells? They used to have the game where you put the coin in the thing and you have to
it used to be on the counter and you win a free taco if you
win a free taco and
it
stuff.
Was if it was a quarter you won something, if it was a dime you won something different. And I think it went down to a nickel, right? Like if you
some shit like that.
A nickel was like a free regular
like
taco. Yeah. And then like a quarter was like a chocolate taco or something.
Yes, exactly. So did that game have water in it, Joe?
Yes.
Was there water? Right?
Yes.
People are saying there was never water in there. And I'm saying, bro, there was 100% water in there. But if you go online, people are like, no, there was never water in those things.
No, there's definitely water in it. Because otherwise,
water. That was the whole game.
Would just because
go straight down.
Yeah, the coin would just go straight down like it's a piggy bank if there was no water. Yeah. So you had to. There was the knob on top to try to catch the coin.
Yeah,
as it drifted to the bottom.
The water.
Yes.
That's what I mean. But people are like, no, like there's people. If you Google it, you will see.
So I will say this: I think there gets to a point where your local Taco Bell just got very fucking lazy and stopped filling it.
Okay,
but
because
it is supposed to be filled with water.
That's what I'm saying. I believe my wife said there was no water. I don't remember water in there.
I'm tired of your family. I am tired of your family. Your daughter gets extra day off from school. Your wife doesn't want water in the Taco Bell game. I've had enough.
It's unbelievable. She's supposed to be on my side. And I'm like, what?
To see what your mom is going to tell me next. Because your mom don't hold back. She gives it to me straight. She's known me too long to tiptoe around Captain Joe's shoes.
That's it. She's like that with everybody.
Hell, your stepdad wouldn't think twice about smacking me in the mouth.
He would love to, probably.
He probably would love to. It's been years he's been holding it in.
Oh, yeah. So that's been bugging me. So Car JoeMeZ Passages, please let us know in the comments on the Facebook group at Car JoeMeZ Podcast. Was there water in these things? Right? There had to be water. Like, I think what Joe's saying is probably what happened.
These people got lazy. Think it just gets to a point where your local Taco Bell decided, fuck this game. We're just, I don't care.
Because it doesn't make sense otherwise. The game doesn't work. Like you said, just boop. So, oh, goodness gracious. I had to ask because it was making me crazy, bro.
No, that would make me crazy too. So Gomez, I watched one more thing this week. This is a new release. It is exclusive to, I don't know, Paramount, maybe HBO. I feel like Paramount gets this shit, but it is a South Park special.
Paramount. Oh, yes.
The End of Obesity. And it's about a 45 or 50-minute special from South Park where we're talking about Ozempic. Eric Cartman trying to get Ozempic. And it is, if you are a South Park fan, still, I know it's been a long time now. We're going on nearly 30 years of South Park, which is insane. It gets kind of forgotten about because of, Simpsons did it first and Simpsons is still doing it. But for South Park to have the run that it has had, because at the beginning, when South Park first came out and it became the talk of the town, and people would say, oh my God, I like it even better than The Simpsons. And people would say, oh, well, The Simpsons has been doing it for 8 years. Let's see South Park stick around. And it's like, okay, well, we're still fucking doing it. Obviously, two different types of humor, but South Park is still there. And if you like South Park, if you're still interested in South Park, this is a classic, perfect South Park done story. Awesome. It is Cartman doing Cartman things.
Sure.
To the point where he wants this thing because he's very selfish and thinks of how it can benefit him to do something that has no impact on anything except make him feel better about himself, and other people trying to help him because they don't realize what his end game is. It is a perfectly fine, well done, contained South Park episode. So if that's the kind of stuff you are interested in, I think it's perfect. I don't think it's amazing by any stretch of the imagination.
It's a good time.
It's a perfectly solid triple main man.
Oh, okay. I might check that out. I haven't watched South Park in forever. I did see that pop up this week on there. All right, I might have to check that out because I haven't seen South Park in a while. That's a good thing to just jump in and see, a self-contained kind of movie there.
It's 100%. A long episode of South Park. It is the perfect thing that you would turn on Comedy Central and watch an episode and be like, oh yeah, this is what South Park's doing now.
I think there's some rights thing that they call them specials and not movies, because if it was a movie, it would have to be somewhere else. But since it's a special, it could be on Paramount. Like I remember seeing something like that. Fucking streaming bullshit, bro.
I don't understand what goes on with. At one point, South Park was on Hulu. Now it's no longer on Hulu. Sometimes it's on HBO.
But it should be on Max. It should be on HBO because of Comedy Central, right?
On HBO Max, but now comedy. I don't understand what the rights and what the exclusivity is with South Park under no circumstance. So it's just a matter of when I say good for Paramount to get something like this, because otherwise I don't know what the fuck you're watching on Paramount.
No, Paramount is South Park, Nickelodeon. That's Paramount. That's it. SpongeBob, South Park.
Whenever I see these specials, I do tend to check them out. This one I was a little bit more interested in because the poster has kind of been coming up in my suggested feed on social media. So it's Cartman, giving himself the Ozempic injection. And I've been sending it to Swoggle all week and be like, oh, congrats on your new role.
I love it. Joe, I only watched one other thing, Joe. I think you only got one more thing too, huh?
It's funny. I do only have one more thing.
Oh, what a coincidence.
I mean, but that was a busy week. I had a lot of things this week.
No, you did. You watched a lot. That was good. Oh, well, we're talking now about our nostalgic wheel. Baby. 2014's Edge of Tomorrow. Your double main man, Tom Cruise, Joe. Ooh.
It's odd when you say that because I don't think of Tom Cruise as I got really no strong feelings about Tom Cruise. Like, I think he's goofy because of the Scientology shit.
Yes.
But as far as like his movies, a lot of times I can take them or leave them.
Yeah, I agree. If it's a Mission Impossible movie, it's good. Good time. Everything else is like,
I never see Tom Cruise and go, oh, a Tom Cruise movie. Now I have to go see it. I've never done that before.
No, I agree. He's never been that guy where if he's in something, I need to see it. No, he just happens to be in Mission Impossible movies and they have some good action shit. It could be anyone in that league.
We're talking about one of the biggest actors of all time.
It's true.
But yet I've never personally seen the appeal for me. Like there have been actors where I'm like, "Ooh, I like this guy. I want to go." Like you said with Walton Goggins and Fallout. You love Walton Goggins. Yes. You went out of your way because you heard he was not just in it, but like a main player in it.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, Tom Cruise has never been anyone I ever was like, oh, I got to see it because Tom Cruise. Usually it's like, oh, it's a Tom Cruise movie. That kind of, not a deterrent, but it's like, I'll think about it.
For me, there was a period of time where I was like, if Brendan Fraser is in this movie, I went to see fucking Dudley Do-Right in theaters. I wasn't missing it.
Oh, Dudley Do-Right. I love it, bro.
What it was a movie. Great. I may have even taken a date to see Dudley Do-Right.
Woo! Look at you throwing fire on those dates.
I'm trying to think. I think I probably would have been like a sophomore or something in high school. So it is very possible that a young Captain Joe Shoes took his romantic love interest to see Dudley Do-Right.
Joe, what's Edge of Tomorrow about?
Edge of Tomorrow is about a soldier fighting aliens who has to relive the same day over and over with the day restarting every time he dies. It's a very interesting synopsis because I don't think it really tells you the extent of anything.
Sure. It's just letting you know it's like a kind of Groundhog Day kind of thing.
I would say the movie is a mix of Groundhog Day with like Starship Troopers.
100%. Yes, 100%.
So you've got this weird alien race that has invaded Earth, and something happens to Tom Cruise where he gets some goo on him, and now he has to relive every day after he has to relive the same day, the same battle every time he dies until he's able to change the course of history, pretty much.
Yes.
It's an interesting concept in the sense that we've seen this kind of thing happen before. So you wonder kind of how this variation on the concept is going to be. But from the beginning of the movie, they kind of just drop you right into, there's not really a ton of buildup here. It's Tom Cruise is this officer who's doing recruitment speeches around the world to get people to join the military because there's this active alien invasion already going on. But he's not anyone who's ever been in battle, near battle, doesn't want anything to do with battle. And he basically gets told that he needs to go fuck himself, and he's getting dropped into basically a suicide mission tomorrow. Yes. And shit just kicks off, and we get this movie. Now, this is something I never saw before this. So, Gomez, had you seen this movie?
Yes, I saw this in the movie theater because it looked interesting. I like action movies, sci-fi movies. At the time, we didn't really have Groundhog Day type movies. Like, this is the thing that's kind of popped up more recently. 10 years ago, it had been a while since we kind of had one of these where you got to relive the day over and over again. So it's always like, I always love that idea. It's a fun concept. So I was all on board, and I saw it in theaters, really liked it. Saw it again when it came out on home video. And I think it's one of Tom Cruise's better movies.
So IMDb gives this a 7.9, Rotten Tomatoes a 91% fresh with an audience score of 90%. So really good grades across the board. This comes in 31st at the domestic box office for 2014, but it's considered a financial flop.
Okay. And Tom Cruise is supposed to open big movies, I guess,
It had a budget of $178 million. Domestically, it only does $100 million. Now, it recoups a lot internationally. Tom Cruise still has a big name internationally, so it does worldwide over $370 million.
Fuck.
But
wow.
What they think is that the title of the movie created a ton of confusion because it doesn't tell you really anything about the movie.
Yes,
so when it comes out on DVD, Warner Brothers kind of redoes the artwork on it, where Edge of Tomorrow becomes very small on the packaging, and the phrase live, die, repeat looks more as if it is the title now, even though they claim it's not. They haven't changed the title. It's still Edge of Tomorrow, but the phrase live, die, repeat becomes more pronounced to kind of give you an idea of what you're going into. So they think that was a big problem with the marketing in the United States.
I get that because I remember this whole thing, but my thing is not everything is summed up in the title. I mean, you watch the trailer. The trailer is supposed to show you what the movie's about, not just this. Like, I get it. Yes, sometimes something Jurassic Park. All right, I guess it's about dinosaurs. But Edge of Tomorrow's like, all right, what's happening? Like, not everything has the Iron Claw. The fuck does that mean? It's a wrestling move. It means nothing. But you see the trailer and you see, oh, it's about this family, and like,
I also think now we're only talking 10 years ago, so we've already entered this space where we're not seeing as many commercials. Streaming is already a thing.
It is starting at that point. Yeah.
There's a difficulty in promoting these new movies and these new things. How are you reaching people? So unless there is a vested interest for people who want to go see movies and who are going to look up these trailers or have it sent to them or be like, oh, I'm on Twitter. We're very into Twitter. We're very into Instagram. This, like I said, only 10 years ago. Social media is already a thing, but you have these kind of fish bowls that you create for yourself based on what you're following, what topics you're interested in. So there's a very real possibility that this may never even cross your mind, your plate. It may never come across, come in front of your eyes.
Yeah. We were talking about this recently, right? We have a friend and one of our close friends. He don't know nothing that's coming out because he don't watch nothing. So he's like, what? There's this is coming out. But it's the truth, like I make fun of him, but at the same time, I was like, well, why would he know this movie's coming out if he's not watching? He's not watching a live baseball game that has the commercial every inning to maybe see something. He's not. So it's like, I get it. If you're paying for ad-free Hulu, ad-free Netflix, ad-free this, that, when are you seeing an ad for anything? Like
me,
true.
For instance, I don't pay for ad-free anything. I refuse. Especially because they've made the difference so dramatic.
Yes.
So it's like, if you want ad-free Netflix, it's $22. But if you're willing to deal with the ads, it's $6. Guess what? I'm going to take the $6 100 times out of 100. But where they fucking get you now with Netflix is they'll have stuff behind the additional paywall. Oh, this is only watchable if you subscribe to the higher level. It's like, man, like now you go fuck yourself. Now I'm really not going to pay your fucking thing. And if it's something you want people to talk about, you're going to have to put it out there for everyone because it's something you want people to talk about. But even recently, like when I watch ESPN or something to watch the playoff games, I'm getting a lot of commercials for this new Hulu series, Clipped, about the old owner, Donald Sterling, the racist. And I cannot wait to watch this fucking show now. It's Al Bundy playing Donald Sterling and Lawrence Fishburne as Coach Doc Rivers. And I'm like really interested to see how they play this. But this is because I'm watching these other channels with
you didn't watch ESPN.
But mostly it's because I'm watching sports that are built to have commercial breaks in them.
Yep.
If I'm not watching that kind of programming, there's a good chance that this just completely slips under the radar for me.
No, sure. If you have to kind of watch live TV to get a little bit of everything. Because if not, if you even your ads on Hulu, it's a car insurance commercial and maybe an ad about a show coming out. Like it's not like you're getting a wide variety of ads.
Hey, we're in an election year now. So by the end of summer, every single commercial on every single, whether it's YouTube or Hulu or every single thing is going to be vote this guy. Every single one. Doesn't matter what your interests are. They're all going to be bought up by election commercials.
Time to start paying for ad-free now.
To start paying for ad-free. Because it is, it's bad enough that you're seeing the same commercials over and over now. I always go back, like the NHL, when they do the playoffs, there's always like one commercial that stands out and all the hockey fans, because there's only 11 of them, talk about it nonstop. A couple years ago, it was Idina Menzel with Tara, look at her go with a fresh cup of Joe, waking up, getting on to work early, following her dreams into taxidermy.
So what are you waiting for? Idina Menzel to sing your own theme song?
Tara, look at her go with a fresh cup of Joe, getting down to work early, following her dreams into taxidermy.
But they're so horrible. Like they stick in your head. This year it's the What a pro wants. What a pro.
It's that one. And the no flex zone. No flex zone. That one too. Yes. The what a pro wants in that one. That's what basketball people are losing their minds about.
What a pro wants is just absolutely atrocious. I absolutely can't stand it. But that's the world we live in. You only get one commercial nowadays.
You get one commercial. Better make it count.
Edge of Tomorrow comes in 31st. Like I said, it's considered a bomb at the box office.
Yeah.
The movie ahead of it in 2014, number 30, was The Equalizer with Denzel Washington.
Ooh.
And behind it was a movie I didn't even recognize. Then I looked it up. I was like, oh, yeah, that was a thing. It's called Nonstop. Do you remember Nonstop, Gomez?
Nonstop? No, I don't remember Nonstop. What's that?
You'll remember it now because it's Liam Neeson doing Taken on an airplane.
Oh, the airplane one. They filmed that. Not that I'm in the movie. I was working at JFK. And they filmed it in my terminal. So like they built a fake TSA checkpoint downstairs. And we watched Liam Neeson come. Yes, that's right.
Number one movie in 2014, Gomez. Do you know it?
It's probably like Captain America bullshit. Something like that.
Actually, Captain America is in the top 5. I want to say it was number 3 or something when I looked. But number 1 that year, because that was, I think, the Winter Soldier.
Fantastic Beast?
Nope. It is Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 1 with $332.9 million.
Insane.
I believe number 2 was The Hunger Games.
Okay. All right.
Which ended up grossing more than Guardians of the Galaxy, but it bled over into the 2015 as well.
Yes, sir. Hunger Games. Good shit, bro.
So, like I was saying, this movie kind of drops you right into it with the early conflict that's going to force Tom Cruise into battle. And it has the opportunity to become very confusing with this sort of premise as to what are we watching? When are we watching? What day are we on? But I think this movie does a great job of really keeping it simple enough to never be confused. There was no point in this movie where I was like, oh, wait 1 second. Like, what's going on here? Once you're kind of bled into the story, just a little bit, I think it's all systems go. I think they do a really great job of telling the story here and keeping you engaged and understanding what's happening.
I agree. Yes. They give you bits and pieces. They do throw you in the action, but then they start slowly giving you the pieces before they start going off into the mission to try to stop them. Yes.
And then once they've laid the groundwork for, hey, like this is what's happening now, they give you kind of a montage to just keep it moving. Like, and it's kind of quick bits, almost like in a TikTok type of editing sense, where you're not just seeing the same scene repeat itself over and over. Now you're only getting kind of highlights. You're getting the ESPN tomorrow afternoon package of the game. And you're getting, this is what happened differently here. Boom, dead. Go to the next one. Now this is what. Yeah. So you're getting this whole sequence, but because it's happening in quick succession, it's keeping you really like, oh my God, like this fucking guy just can't get it. Like, come on now. And then it really opens up once he has the first meeting with Emily Blunt's character here, who plays the character of Rita, who's like a super soldier, basically.
Yes.
And she meets him in one of these battles and says, find me when you wake up. Obviously, there's something she knows that no one else knows. And Tom Cruise has to figure out now how to find her because he's been kind of locked down in this military camp now. So he's got to find a way to escape and then find out where she is. So, and he even dies doing that, which is actually pretty funny. Yes. There is a good sense of humor to this movie with all the times Tom Cruise is forced to die for the days to keep going on and on. But all the different situations, it actually provides some levity for the seriousness of these battle sequences where it's not just,
very intense.
Horrible thing. There is some levity to the way they do some of these kill scenes.
You mentioned last week, Emily Blunt. She's not your favorite, really. What do you think of her in this movie? I think she does a great job.
In a lot of ways, I'm just like, oh, she's fine. I know, but like she's become like a thing, and that's really my thing.
The rise of
I'm just like, why? I never look at her and be like, she fucking sucks. I never hate her. Sure. I never hate what she's doing. I'm just
don't get why she's a thing.
How did she become this Like, what role was it that
I think this is the start of it.
Now,
Like,
this
this is
is
like
a
a
big budget movie. I think
big action movie.
she's perfectly fine in what she does.
Yeah. Like she's a badass in it, so she could do something a little different than just, The Devil Wears Prada, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like showing that she's like a badass. And so
what's
she starts doing kind of action
movie is under no circumstance really is her character, for being like this female warrior soldier, they never like sexualize it at all.
No,
she's just
not at all.
literally
She's
a
just
soldier
a
who's
badass.
going to lead, the planet to beating these aliens.
100%. Yes, they don't do that. That's what makes it good too. They don't try to force any kind of stupid thing.
And it probably would have come off as forced. And it's just like, no, she's just a woman she's a super soldier.
She's it. She knows what she's doing. Because that's all right. We always complain about trying to force these extra storylines to these movies. It's like it's not necessary. Just give us the good shit. So
now I believe there is source material for this because this movie is based on it's a manga novel.
Yeah.
And the title of it is All You Need Is Kill, which is
they didn't want to call it that. Yeah. They thought it'd be a little harsh.
I think that title is probably a little bit better than the one they chose, however.
It is.
It still doesn't tell you anything about the movie.
It doesn't at all either. Yes. What does that mean? But it's a cool title.
But I think in the book itself, there is scenes where there's some kind of romantic entanglement between the two main characters, or some scenes where she's like supposed to be in the shower when one of the aliens comes and she has to like run away naked or something. And all that stuff kind of just got
Japanese.
They love their adult manga. Hentai, as we call it over on the P-Hub.
We just got to throw some tentacles in here real quick, guys.
See, now that's the kind of squid monster you never leave out. Redo The Watchmen that way.
I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. The aliens, you like the aliens, right? Because sometimes these aliens, their design. I'm not always happy with design. I think it's okay. It's interesting, but it's not like, oh, that's such a cool alien.
There's nothing about them that like stands out as like so super cool. To me, they almost look like the weird side characters in the Michael Bay Transformers movies. Like they're not even side characters. They're just like fodder is the way like all of these things look like. And I don't really understand like which one is supposed to be like the big bad. It's almost like the Sentinel, the master mold of these things for the mimics, they're called. So that's like the big one that they got to kill, I guess. But at the end of the day, like for a movie that I really knew nothing about coming in, I found it very enjoyable. And just like you were saying with Mad Max Fury Road, where it's like regarded as one of the top action movies of the last like generation, I think this is like got to be up there for like what this movie I feel like should have been a lot bigger than it ends up being.
I agree. If we're ranking Tom Cruise movies, this is just toward the top of the list, especially, like I love those Mission Impossible movies, but I can't really tell them apart. Like I couldn't tell you which one is number 4, 5, and 6. I remember, he did that awesome thing under the water. That was cool. He did like I remember bits and pieces. It's good in the moment, but like I never like, oh man. So I would have a hard time picking one Mission Impossible out of all of them. So this is definitely high on the list if I'm picking best Tom Cruise movies.
Yeah, I'd have to say the same for myself. Like if you said, what's your favorite Tom Cruise movie? I mean, maybe people go back to the 80s. If you're like a big Cocktail fan or Risky Business or Top Gun, obviously.
Top Gun, I guess, is what people would pick,
But I mean, for the past, he's done a ton of movies in the 30 years since, or in the over 30 years since. So I think this has to be in probably anyone's top 5. Like if you really, I don't know, I haven't really gone through his filmography recently to rate it, but when it was completed, I was like, fuck, this was good.
Let me hit some music here.
Are you a man? A double main man? Are you a man? A triple main man? A man? A quadruple main man? Are you our man? Are you our man?
All right, Joseph. I'm excited for this. Main man standing times. Edge of Tomorrow 2014. action classic, maybe. Let's see what we think here.
I mean, I've already said it. Fuck, this was good. Quadruple main man.
Ooh, Joe had a good week, bro. Joe watched some good shit this week.
I watched some good shit. I also watched Civil War.
Brought the average down just a little, just a tick. I'm there with you, definitely. It's a 4 out of 5 main man. I love it. I rewatched it because I hadn't seen it in a while. And it's just like, man, this is a banger. This is good. The action is good. The characters are good. Like you said, there's some lightheartedness to go with because the action is intense. Like, people are dying, blowing
the
up.
Actual
like,
fight scenes, it's war, and
it is, yes,
are dying
yes.
over and over. So the opportunities that they have to add levity to it while not detracting from the stakes of what's actually happening is very, very well done.
Yes, sir. Love to hear it. Joe, what do you want to do for next week? What do you think we should do here?
I think this is a good time to say that there's not going to be a next week, Gomez.
What? Oh no, baby. What's going on? What's happening here?
To be completely transparent, I have gotten very, very busy. Obviously, if you guys follow me and you listen to the show, you probably follow my other ventures. I have another podcast called The State of Affairs. I have another show on top of that called The Captain's Log. I have YouTube obligations or live appearance obligations or things I'm doing with the major pod, whether it's bonus episodes with them or appearing at live shows. I don't have a life right now. And as much as I enjoy doing this show, it takes a lot of time and a lot of commitment. It's basically adding probably an extra 16 to 20 hours weekly to my work because of I need to watch things to be able to come on here and talk about them.
Yeah.
So did I need to watch 8 movies this week? No, but it's kind of what's expected of me. Talk about what's going on. Have news, do research, watch, put in the time to watch all this stuff and be able to talk about it legitimately. It's not something I take lightly. You can disagree with my opinion, but at least I want it to be an educated opinion. I'm not going to come on here and make up bullshit for the sake of it. Facts being facts, we have a group of legitimate, regular, hardcore listeners and fans. There's just not enough of you. And for whatever reason, our numbers have gone up, they've gone down, they've gone up, they've gone down. And at the end of the day, for the time that this show takes from my life, it's just not enough to sustain the ability to keep this show going. So to all of you who have followed this, I mean, we're on episode 402. That's a good litmus test at this point. It's not like we're quitting after 10 episodes and saying, well, where's the people? It's just not anything that ever really caught on or got to the point to make it worthwhile to keep going. So we've kind of kept it going probably longer than really was necessary. And it's been fun. I've always enjoyed doing it. Obviously, Gomez and I are very good friends outside of here. We've known each other a very long time. This is probably another reason for his stepdad to want to hit me in the mouth. I don't know. But yeah, unfortunately, I cannot commit to continuing to put in this time when I have these other ventures that are actually, for better or worse, making me money. This show has never made me a dime. It's a hobby, sure, but at some point, like, the goal is to build it into something that maybe doesn't change my life, but actually makes it worthwhile. And that's not happening right now. So this has been, for now at least, the final episode of the Car JoeMeZ podcast.
Yes. We started this podcast just for fun because we're two buddies. We like to bullshit. We like to talk. And, podcasts were a thing. And I'm like, let's do a podcast here, Joe. Let's get you out there. My man, he's got hopes and dreams, aspirations. And so let's get it. It didn't work out, but he is doing his thing. His other podcasts here, they're doing good shit over there, State of Affairs. And so I'm glad to jumpstart your little podcast career here. and now you're gonna go on to the next thing, and you're gonna kill it, Joe.
Yeah. So thank you, Gomez, for giving me a kick in the ass to start this in 2016, which is a long time ago. The thing is, guys, always try something. Like, it's much better to try and fail than to have never tried at all. And at the very least, I had some good times with my buddy, and we had some good conversations along the way. And I think we've done some funny stuff here and there. Quick sand is one of the things that always comes to mind. You know, like, not that was a plan. That wasn't a written bit. It just happened organically. I stand by that, though. Quick sand would have been a huge hit. Hopefully you guys will follow me, stay with State of Affairs. Obviously, we're starting a Patreon over there. We'll have our first bonus live episode for State of Affairs this week as well, on today, May 30th, the day this episode releases. And you're getting content from State of Affairs, you're getting content from Going Postal, you're getting content from the Game Marks. So that's patreon.com/podexchange, just PODXCHANGE. So if you are interested in that kind of content, I'll also be doing some other stuff that we're talking about right now to add to your value with the Patreon, if you do so decide to subscribe. So hopefully you guys will follow me over there, and with everything else that I've been doing and will be doing. So thank you.
Yeah. I'll be around. Always follow that Twitch stream, because I just do that for fun. Like, I did that before I was trying to do anything with it. I just like showing people weird shit. And if I'm home doing nothing, I'm going to put it on. Smith has always been a thing, always will be a thing. So WrestleMania weekend, don't forget about me, folks. Because
guys, there is no reason Gomez will not be doing a show with someone else relatively soon.
We'll see. I have ideas, but I don't want to just jump into it. I want to do something different. Like, we did this, or we did a general. Like, you got your thing where you're doing like your, not a fight, but your debate show.
It is a fight to the death.
Yeah, it is a fight. Kill that motherfucker.
I've killed him every fucking week, and yet people still agree with him.
Bastards, because they're like, oh, we can't upset Swaggle. Oh, he's a big WWE superstar. Fuck out of here.
He's become my bitch. That's what's happened.
So, I'll be back trying something different, but until then, just follow the socials and stay on the Facebook group. We can still have fun there for a little bit, have a good time. Everyone want to talk. I tried that that glazed donut syrup. Woo, baby, that shit was good. It tastes like a glazed donut. I don't want to say like a Dunkin' Donut, because those aren't really great. But like when you go to like the supermarket and you buy that box of like fucking 12 donuts, the glazed donuts, and you eat them all in one sitting, that's what it tastes like.
It tastes like generic glazed donut, not necessarily Dunkin', because I don't think a Dunkin' glazed donut is necessarily really anything too crazy.
Exactly. It's just like this.
If I want just a plain glazed donut, Krispy Kreme is the one.
Of course,
but obviously not everyone has a Krispy Kreme.
I don't got that here.
I was gonna say, even for me, like Krispy Kreme is. We have them down. I used to have one down the block when I lived in Tampa.
Down the block, bro.
Like, it was right there, and it felt like it always had the hot symbol lit up. But now, like where I am now, no, Krispy Kreme is like, make a day trip out of it. But we've got some new donut spots that have been popping up, like these gourmet. Like, we have Voodoo Donuts at Universal Studios.
Oh, yeah.
That's been there for a while now. But we've also got these spots that are popping up that are kind of in the vein of a Voodoo Donuts, and they're all trying to become like a thing.
Duck Donuts, that's the thing over here now.
I haven't heard of that one.
It started like in Boston, and it's kind of trickled its way. I think we got like 6 or 7 on Long Island now, so it's becoming a thing. It's good. It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all like glazed cake kind of donuts, and then you like have different toppings and shit.
Yeah,
like that.
That's the thing. They're all kind of doing the same thing. So it's like,
so
what's
how much
the big
can you
differentiator?
Do?
Exactly. What,
you
someone's going to discover they're going to be the first one to use a different cereal on top of this donut?
That's what I was just going to say. It's we did Fruity Pebbles, guys.
Right.
Oh,
I did Honey Smacks.
Yep. Oh, fuck. Honey Smacks would be good.
Gomez, we still got to finish up an episode, so let's hit some music.
Oh, baby.
Now time
for the big finish. All right, Joe. We don't got a wheel for this one, but we got a big finish.
Okay, let's hear it.
Top 3 Car JoeMeZ episodes moments. Either one that works for you. What stands out? What's something that stood out to you in these 400 years that we did these episodes?
400 years, 400 episodes. So we are very productive.
Takes a lot of work to put these.
Hey, we're still doing better than a lot of these TV series that drop fucking 6 episodes every fucking 5 years.
Yes. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's see. What's
the first thing that comes to mind for me is a very early one. Episode 3, where we watched Rhinestone with Sylvester Stallone, and we were 100%. Introduced to Drinkenstein.
Drinkenstein.
Like, why is Drinkenstein not this huge thing in pop culture? Like, I don't get why it's just not in your face over and over to the point where you're so sick of it. It is 100%. One of the greatest things.
100%, because that leads to Shrimpenstein. And that is one of the things that I always think about of the Car JoeMeZ podcast. Shrimpenstein. Joe made a song to the tune of Drinkenstein, and it became a thing. He even then went on to eat 126 shrimps.
Yeah,
what was it? Good times, bro. Good times.
So, that's one of the, especially early on where we were still figuring out, how to do a podcast.
Yes.
That's one of the, the first, real jokes that hit with people. And I think episode 4 was another one where it was, we watched the Independence Day sequel.
Oh, ID 42.
ID 42. And I just had this whole thing about, what if it was Jackie Robinson piloting the spaceship? If you don't know any better, it's 42 for Independence Day. And where everyone wearing their Dodgers jerseys, and it's just Jackie Robinson leading the charge on the Chinese moon supervisor.
Chinese moon supervisor. It is all classic. That's good. That's fucking hysterical. I'm trying to think. What's making you watch horror movies is my favorite part of the podcast, because that's just my thing, and for you to agree to it. And for the most part, I feel, I did a good job not picking fucked up movies. I mean, I did do Inside. Inside was probably the worst movie. The Christmas movie with the baby.
With the abortion, the car accident.
Yeah, with the car accident, trying to steal the baby. That's probably the roughest movie I made you watch, I would think.
Actually, I will say the roughest one, Saw.
Saw was pretty bad.
I was like, what the fuck? No, thank you.
I forgot what a Saw movie was for a minute.
Because I was like, oh. But even me going in, because I enjoyed when we watched the first Saw. I've never seen it. But it was more like a psychological thriller. And I got really into that. So I was like, oh, okay. There was this really good story about it. So it's almost like I didn't mind the gore that was happening around it. With Saw X, I was like, oh, Jesus, God, no. I thought multiple times about just getting up and leaving.
I watched it as soon as it started. I said, "Oh, why did I make Joe watch this?" I felt so bad. I did. I honestly did. I was like, "No, this is supposed to be fun, and this is not fun.
This is not fun." You and I have two very different definitions of fun.
Oh my God! Oh, in the same vein, a horror thing that always sticks out because my friends still crack up about it. When I was yelling at you about Hellraiser, because I'm yelling, but I'm not really angry at you. And I call you a silly goose. And I go, you're just a silly goose. And my friends to this day still crack up about how I was so annoyed. But I mean, really, am I that annoyed about you liking this movie? But I had to be angry. And silly goose is the insult I throw at you.
That movie sucks. I'm sorry. I am sorry. You horror people have such a low standard for what constitutes a a good movie that like you just want to be so accepted in your own, like, oh, we're so cool because we're the horror genre. Oh, we're gonna hell, and you just like shit. You actively go out of your way to enjoy shit.
Oh,
suck it, each and every one of you.
You're welcome, folks. I'll give you one last one.
Oh my God. Hot Floridian Sex. You know what? That's a good one too, Gomez. That's a very recent one, but that's
that one. People love that one. People loved it. They do. They still. Anytime you bring it up, Hot Floridian Sex, Gomez. They love it. Oh man, but it's fun. It was a lot of fun doing our game shows. We never we would prep things, but never. We would just have ideas like, oh, we should talk about this. We should talk about this. But when it came to the show, we usually try to just, pop the boys. That's the point of the show here. We're just trying to pop each other and our friends. And so when we had game shows, we literally, I had no clue he was doing it to me. I had no clue I was doing it to, and it's always fun. Hit that game show music. It's like, what is he going to do now?
I think the first time we did it and I said, Gomez, hit my game show music. You were so pissed at me. Because not only did you not know it was coming, but then you had to look for actual game show music to put into the episode after the fact.
I'm like, what? Game show music. Oh man, good times, Joe. Good times. It's just
good times, great memories.
Yeah, talking to my buddy. It's fun.
It's been, like I said, it's been 400 episodes. It's been a good time. I appreciate each and every one of you guys who's been listening. It's just sad to say there just wasn't enough of you.
It happens. It's all right. It happens. We'll still be around. Don't worry. Don't worry. Joe, hit them with plugs one last time. Where can they find you?
I am everywhere on social media at the Joe Shoes. Obviously, the State of Affairs every other Wednesday. Follow that at Affairs Pod. Gomez, it's funny. I just heard from a gentleman who got in trouble with his wife because she went on his social media and saw he was following an account called Affairs Pod and thought it was like some kind of Ashley Madison thing, which is something that I'd never considered when we were starting the social media accounts. But there are other things like news sources and stuff that have like State of Affairs taken or variations or like Sons of Anarchy podcasts that have like SOA, so there wasn't a lot of options and we kind of settled on Affairs Pod. I hadn't considered all the possibilities, but follow all across social media at Affairs Pod. We're doing giveaways because we do have a connection with Wrestling Collector Shop. So if you like some wrestling figures, follow there. We're doing contests for every episode. Of course, patreon.com/pod exchange, PODXCHANGE. Bonus content every month from 3 different shows. It is a good value, and we'll be adding more stuff to the Patreon at the same cost. So you'll be getting some more. Maybe I do a weekly State of the Shunion, and you hear about what's going on in the Shunion. I guarantee it won't always be as bad as Civil War, which wasn't even that bad a movie. It just wasn't much.
Sure,
I'm picking on it because I need something to pick on, and that's on the brain today. But yeah, youtube.com/Joe Shoes. And once again, thank you guys.
The Gomez 154, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, all that stuff. I'll start posting more, maybe.
When was the last time you posted on fucking Blue Sky?
I've only been posted on Twitter. I haven't posted on Twitter in forever. A couple of retweets, but I haven't even done that. So maybe I'll start doing that a little more. You can follow me, twitch.tv/MEZ Movie. Come on. There's some good stuff happening there. And that's it, Joe. It was great. Great working with you, buddy. I love you.
It's been fun, but as they say, that's amore, cowboy.
Peace.